Hey guys, and welcome to another live stream. Tonight we're going to be working on the Ecto 1, and there are some huge parts that I'm going to be working on today. And it really is a really good demonstration tonight on how they spread the cost over the individual parts. Because, like right here, stage 66, that I didn't finish last time, that's about it's $10 for a bunch of wires, whereas some of the other parts that I've got tonight in particular, hang on a second, I lost my chat window. In particular, the parts of the body, and I apologize for the glare, guys, it's just these lights, but the parts of the body, I paid $10 for this as well. So it is pretty interesting how it balances out over the course of the build. And, it balances out over the course of the build on how much you pay. So here's stage 66, which last time I worked on the Ecto, I did not get done. And I'm going to fix that glare in a second. I'm going to turn on some other different lights. But before that, I want to make sure that I get these parts in without the strobing. So, issue 19, stage 67, more wires. Stage 68, we start working on the hood metal parts. Stage 69 is huge. It is the body of the car, the back part, or the front part of the body, and stage 70. So, hey Mark, hey Eric. So it does show that there's quite a disparity on what the parts are that you get for how much you pay, but it all evens out in the end. Cool. Battlefield 1. I don't think I've ever played it. So let me switch back over to here. And just 1 second while I turn the lights on. There. I'm not going to switch back over to the camera on the right anymore, or over on the left tonight. So now I've got the full lights up. So last time I worked on the Ecto, had a bunch of wires left over here. This has all been sitting here in the shop for the last, I think it's been 3 weeks. These wires were sitting here. Got all of these wires hanging out here, bunch of wires hanging out here. Let me go ahead and take this hood off and find somewhere where it's not going to get dinged. But a bunch of parts left over. Very huge. Oh yeah, thank you for mentioning that. So HLI FX01 is still going strong, still sitting here. This is the HLI FX02 on the second breadboard, and you've got on the light here that it's actually red, but looking at the camera it looks like it's just flared out. That's got a slight flicker to it. You can't really see it in the light I've got. Both of these have a slight glow to them, the green and the blue, but those are other effects. Let me see if I can get this without my hand in the way. So a short push on the button does a ramp up and a flash. That would be for your photon torpedo on a Klingon bird of prey. Long push is for the disruptors firing. Not a bad board. Was $20. I got 2 of them. Well worth it, I think. I've got actually 4 birds of prey, and I know that Kenny and the gang over there at HLI are working on the resin parts so you can actually light the guns on the wingtips of the bird of prey. So, thank you for reminding me, Mark. That's exactly why they sit there. Just so that people can see that they are a quality board and that they should last about forever. Spencer did a did the calculations on the FX01, and if you run it, I've run it more than if you run it for 30 minutes a day for 10 years straight, because I've been running it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week since I got it, I think, in May. Just reminder, folks, that's running it at 9 volts. 12 volts may do different, and you know your mileage may vary, as they say. So let me crack open these parts. I don't know where my knife is. Yeah, I had to, earlier today I cleaned up the bench because I've been working on the working pretty steadily on the launch tower for the space shuttle, and I have been doing some work as well. I'm really happy with the way they came out for the diorama for the F-16. Anybody who has worked Air Force flight line will probably recognize this. It doesn't have the wires or it's actually supposed to be hoses, but it's going to be wires that come off of it. This would be a hydraulic mule. Ooh, I have to be careful, almost broke the tow bar there. The Dash 60 power unit. And I know they look really good. Exactly. Pretty much the same thing. And actually my the Agostini Falcon, my Millennium Falcon, is affected by the thunder or the lightning we've been having lately. Sometimes we get a burst of lightning that hits just the right frequency and turns it on. I think it's kind of funny. And then this is a fire bottle. Still got to put decals and all that good stuff on these, but you know, things that I've been working on. Okay, so let me flip over. Actually, I am flipped over to stage 66. First thing in 66 is more wires. I'm just looking because we had these wires left over, and it's been a while, so I want to flip back over and see which wires I should have had left over. Or did I? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. It is not saying any of those wires yet. Maybe. Actually, Mark, it's kind of neat with that room. It is the way that room was originally wired. There are 2 outlets in the room that are controlled by a switch. I will probably instead do something. Actually, I've got the smart plugs already set up to where I will control the lights, the model lights, with a Alexa, Echo, whatever you want to call it. With one of the smart smart speakers. That shouldn't be that bad. So let me see. Looking at this, and I'm not finding the end of this blue wire. This one is going to go quite a ways because it is very long. Sometimes it's not very nice or very good the way they wrap these wires up because they tangle. And of course this one has a second wire. Considering the length of this is going to be a headlight or a tail light, and it's going to hook up the opposite end of the car. And this is also going to be a headlight or a tail light. Pretty sure this one is going to be some sort of one of the tail lights because it's red LEDs. Okay, these are all toggle switches on these red wires, and I'm looking. They will get used in stage 2. Wondering if they are all the same length. And one just went down to the floor. No, they're not. This one's shorter than the first two. No, it's as long as the same length. This one, on the other hand, is very short. And let me get rid of that. This is the tedious part of these kits, is getting the wires done. But it's also very important because if you don't get the wires in right, the kit won't light right. It's like my, let's see, here's another short one for the toggle switch. It's like my, lost my train of thought there. My DeLorean. My DeLorean has a short in it, so whenever it's got power applied, one light is always on. So I put that light towards the door. This one, there are 2 wires together, and another 2 red lights. Green, white, marked O. Green and white left headlight. So this would be the green and white left headlight. This one, not the black one. Well, that's interesting. Because okay, I see what I'm doing. That one's marked O, or that one's marked P. This one is marked O. So this one goes O to O. So here's O and here's O. So I will plug it in. Does not say yet where to route these wires. I'm guessing these wires will come back to haunt me when I put the body together. PCB. Green, white. It says green, white, red headlight where it means right headlight for P, which was this one right here. Again, the only difference between them is that P is a lot longer because O was the left headlight, P is the right headlight. Guaranteed it's probably going to go up in here somewhere. Here is the socket that it plugs into. With it being the headlights, I'm sure the O and P would not matter other than the length of the wire. Then back here we've got Q and R hooking to Q and R, and it shows yellow, but I think it's these red. Let's see, black and white. So yes, it's going to be these black and white wires, and here's R, and here's Q. So you can see there's Q, there's R, with the corresponding flags. I'm moving these just so that I don't inadvertently drop them. Matter of fact, let me put them, especially these short two, up inside the car. There's a lot of wires going to happen back here on the back side today. So this was Q. Here's Q right here. I'm sure it's going to, both of them are going to go up over this wheel well back here. I don't think I've gotten anything to be able to hook up power to this yet. So disappointing that not going to be able to turn on these lights yet. Here's R. And you can see here the length, different lengths on the wires. This one obviously is the left side, this one is the right. Been very funky weather here today. It rained a bit. It rained hard. And then it got down to 70 and it's now back up to 77 outside. So I'm looking for the shorter, one of the shorter ones. Fitting switches begins with the left rear wheel first, 66F marked T. That's X. Here's T. Like I said, these are just toggle switches. If you look, you can see it pushes down that way. And I'm sure that's what makes the connection. Here's wire T here. Let's see if I can, okay, I'm just going to slide it back there. And then wire V, and it's saying door switches, so these actually are going to be the switches that turn the lights on and off. Oh, that's what these are going to be. These are going to be the interior lights. Anytime so when the door is shut, once these are installed, when the door is shut, the switch will be compressed. When it opens, it'll pop up and the lights will come on, just like in a real car. Hey GB, welcome to the stream. Hook up one of these boards to it. I don't think it would work very well. That's all I need is to screw up the electronics in this thing. So switch V into plug V, or socket, plug into the socket. Finally, the right rear door switch marked X. I think this one was X. I'm rather interested to see how this is going to work with the these wires all being attached to the chassis already. So back up to the left front wheel, and this would be U, and it plugs into this one right here, which is U as well. I can see W is there, and that's where the next switch is going to go. This should be W, yes. I'll just run these back that way, back towards the back as well. Testing the ceiling lights. So let me tilt this thing up on its side. It says I can test the lights now, but I don't think I have any lights inside, or any batteries inside the car. I do not. And it says it needs 6 AAAs, which I just happen to have. 6 AAAs here. And they were actually from, what were they from? They were when I was working on the Enterprise. Eventually I will do either my own mod or I will purchase a power mod so that I don't have all these freaking batteries that can go bad. Plus the car is going to be way too heavy to be trying to lift up to replace batteries underneath it. It's not anything. There's 2 batteries that are not pushed all the way in. And of course, it's not lining up. There is a power mod for the DeLorean that they, there we go. I think it's Model Mods. Makes it. There's also a power mod for the DeLorean. The one that I did was I bought some a power supply that has battery sized connection inside the car. So where was the switch? Here's the switch. I do not see light 1 on. Should be, it says unless of course I just turned it off instead. That's a dual. Of course, you know. Let me just double check something because I think that would help. Reason the light is not coming on is because it's this one. It's this one that I didn't connect. Oh, and I was correct that the switch was in the opposite direction. So we know at least those lights work. Testing the brake pedal. This should cause a stepping on or pushing on the brake pedal. If I step on it, I'll break it. Hey, Kenny. Yeah, it's. I'll send. Just remind me, Mark. I'll send it to you. So, these 4 lights should illuminate when I step on the brake. My brake lights work. You guys may not be able to see it there. You can see the glare off of that one. So the brake lights work. That's a good thing. I'm going to lay lights that have worked across the car. Let me get this switch untangled. So far I know that the interior dome light and the brake lights work. Oh, and Kenny, just to let you know, board still works. And it will, until it goes into a model, it will sit on the desktop, sit just like that. I didn't test the other one, but I'm sure it should be just fine. Main light switch cover 41E. Checking the dashboard lights. Oh. That should be this one here. They do work. As a matter of fact, the headlights came on as well. I can't, the angle right now, I can't get the dash lights to where you guys can see them, but trust me, the dash lights are on. Let me push it again. I forget all the wiring I've done on this thing. Oh wait, there was supposed to be one light in the back that was on as well, but I'm not sure which one it would be. Oh, very nice. You turn on the headlights and the tail lights come on. Let me see, does it brighten if I step on the brake? It does. I like that a lot. So let me turn that back off. Don't think any other switches are working yet. They're not saying anything else is. I don't remember where all the switches were, to be honest. I know there's a bunch of switches. I think there's some on the radio. Now there's one here. The radio may not work, but the engine does. Okay. By pushing the switches fitted in this. When all are pressed, the ceiling light should switch off. These switches, yep. Main lights, okay, engine sound. Horn switch. There's the horn. That says roof light switch. I'm not sure why the horn is sounding. But here's the important one. Hey, Spence. Now I'm not sure. It sounds like there might be crossed connection here because it says on the dash, one's the horn, one's the roof light switch, but the horn and the roof light are both hitting the horn. But I wonder. Sorry guys, I'm playing. I hope you're enjoying this, because I'm having a good time. So let me get these lights back up where you can see them. And it says, like I said earlier, if I push all of these switches to the closed position, which is going to be interesting with there being 6 of them. I need about 4 more hands. Let me see, I should be able to grab these and pull them back here. Open the door. No, I mean, that's really, truly the only way you're going to be able to. I don't know for sure if this is going to have a remote. I think it should. I mean, the first one they ever did, the Ecto, had a remote, and looks like there's only 5 of these switches. So let me see. Yep, and any switch will turn on the lights. So that is a good test. Lost control one. That's a good test of all of the switches as well. So I would call that a successful test. And apparently, I thought these cables would be used in step 66, but they are not. So I'm going to put them in my parts box. By the way, Spence, this is for you, Spence. It works. So let me shut this off. And yeah, with it, using AAA batteries like that, that is going to be a lot. I mean, that's going to be a ton of batteries. It's going to be. Okay, so here, let me, before I start moving the parts, let me show you guys that just showed up what I showed everybody earlier. Those are the parts for issue 19. Actually putting body parts together. I don't think they're all going to attach to the body today, but who knows. Don't copyright you? So let's see. Car part, we've got 67, 68, 69, and 70. So we're going to start with stage 67, which is more wires. You know, I just thought of something, guys. I've read so many people complaining on the internet about the siren. I'm going to turn it back on for a minute. And I have to say, what's wrong with that siren? Maybe it's the fact that it repeats on a short cycle, but that siren sounds fine to me. Out of the nav strobe boards. It's okay, I still got two that I haven't put into anything, Kenny. So let me get these out. And these actually have, wow. Okay, that's what that is. And not sure if I appreciate that they put a switch on it. This is one of the, has to be, oh man, here I am on the wrong camera. There. Sorry about that, guys. So, I think these are going to be flashing blue lights. There's two of them. And there's a switch on each one, so I'm wondering if that means that you have to flip the switch to turn them on. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Elaine, if you're there. Red light here. This car has a lot of lights to it. This is just a junction wire. That's a very interesting. Okay, no, it was I was going to say it looked like a blue filament in there. It's a reflection of the cutting pad. Can never forget the ladies when they're there. And grab this one and more wires with two lights on each, and this is a right and left. I can tell because one's long, one's short. And so I should get these back out of the way, get them down here. Those back out of the inside of the car. Okay, start by plugging in Federal 19 propeller array wire. Okay, wire J. CL. This was the junction wire. There's K, so I'm getting close. Okay, so J, which was this lone red wire, plugs in by the back tire. These got one right here, just wrapped up inside those that is not connected to anything yet, so it needs to be loose. And here is wire J. I'm trying to unwrap it from the rest of it so I can put it up on top. So wire J. Put that clip in. And wire K, of course, which I just had K. There it is. What is K? HRDF 200 strobe wire K. So I'm looking at the picture here, and they got a lot of. Wait a minute. Okay. Pull J back down here. And let me grab these wires because apparently I didn't read everything I needed to. Because here's what needs to happen. I'm going to screw this up. So wire J here, and J, the one with the light, there's this third, no, I crossed the streams. There's this third wire J here that is supposed to hook into this wire J. It's got a socket on one side and a plug on the other. And this is going to, I'm sure, let this reach the roof of the car. So if I plug this J and this J together, instead of having a short wire like I did, I now have a really long wire. So now let me find wire K. I'm going to have to go back and double check E, L, N. I don't think. No, that's not the same E. That can't be. Or no, that's a lowercase m. I'll double check in a minute to make sure that I didn't miss anything like I was just about to. So let me get K. This, I believe, is wire K here. So there's K, and there's J. These are loose wires still. So just to make sure that I didn't screw this up, these are all connected. N, L, lowercase m. Okay, these three are still loose. So I didn't mess it up. I tried to mess it up, then I figured it out. Okay, so next one is not N. Looking for L now. This is the deck light. This is the wire that plugs, or the lighted wire. This is the one that plugs into L here. And it takes, this one's actually a little interesting because it takes the small socket here, turns it into a larger socket here for the wire with the actual lights on it. And if any of you should decide to do this model, I've found that, come on, focus. I have found, you can see the two slots there. This side is going to face the outside of this plug. The back here that is pure white, there's no slots, is going to be facing into the back of the socket. So here, where there's an opening on the socket, you're going to slide it in with the two metal pieces. Oh, sorry, saw something in the chat. With the two metal pieces towards the outside, and then this will slide in here. But this is the opposite. The piece that is pure white goes to the outside. That's it. That is the deck lights. That's what it was called. And then M, do the same thing. They have a uppercase M in the book, but a lowercase m on the wire, because the lowercase m will then, you'll not confuse it like I did with the E. So if you look, that M could be confused for an E. So this is the same thing. Plugs in here, and this plugs into the car. And with N, that's going to be the last of the wires that I have available, other than, okay, actually N. So this is N. This is N. Interesting. Okay. So let me turn this on. Now let me try pushing the roof light switch. Nope. Uh-huh. There we go. That's why the roof lights switch, or why it was honking the horn, because the correct lights were not there. I like it. I think it's cool. Okay, that's why I was getting confused. I was thinking these were wires, not just a. This is just a second jumper, because these two, this one, and these two are all N. So plug in one N. Get the Okay, so I'm looking at this, and I'm sitting here thinking these are the two are the end. No, you got a really short lead and a really long lead. So this end we plug in here, and this one we plug in here. So you can see I've now got the two clusters of blue lights attached to this string. And this will plug into this, maybe. And then finally, this all plugs into this socket coming out of the wheel well. And that actually takes care of all the wires I have. Code 3. Okay, so let me turn the car back on. And these lights turn off and on with switches. Of course, what that means is it means more likely I'm going to see if I can find a way to have everything on the car turned on whenever I just apply power using a wall switch or a wall wart or something. Okay, so that is the end of stage 67. For stage 68, it's the body front frame. I'm just going to take a look here and see. Yeah. At this point, I'm going to move the car out of the way because it's body and frame and not the chassis. This is a huge rat's nest of wires that could really get screwed up badly if I don't take care of this car. So let me move the car, and yes, it is decently heavy. I'm thinking probably 15 pounds at this point. So let me set this on another table I've got here in the shop. It's actually where it's been sitting for the last couple of weeks. And let me get out stage 68. A bit of bourbon. So stage 68. I'm not sure where my Ecto is right now. I know it's somewhere handy. But I cleaned up to be able to do the screen, and I just shoved everything, all the tools to the side, and moved the models out of the way. Now it's funny, the first time I opened parts to this kit, every time I would scan the code here. All that code is for is if you have a problem with it. Huh? Oh, my Exacto? I don't think so. Well, hang on. Let me switch back. Suddenly I'm getting strobing off of this one. Hang on. Better. Oh, and just to let you guys know, Donnie, you were late. You're late, but what was funny is you were complaining earlier. We were bantering back and forth about it, and you knew it was not going to be the Enterprise. That's why you're late on purpose, man. So, there's part of the chassis, part of the frame. Let me turn this back on and see if the strobing code is still there. Wow. I wonder if it's the blue. No. There you go, guys. See all that strobing? And the strobing goes away because I took away the reflective plastic. Yeah, I just finished the Enterprise. It's completely done. Okay, so let me get parts out of here. The screws and the engine or the chassis identification plate. So let me flip back just so I know what each of these parts is. 68 B and C. Oh. Body front frame left and right. D is the lock pin that is in here. That's that little black piece there is the lock pin for the hood. And some screws and the identification plate. So first thing to do is take these parts and BM screws and attach them, and you can see on here you can tell which way they go because there's a rounded piece on here. This piece, the part that sticks up here. Wow, camera's starting to have problems again. Part that sticks up here is the what was I going to say? It goes towards the interior of the engine compartment. And then this rounded part on here, rounded part, if I can get it to focus. Trust me, there's a rounded part here. It goes towards the front and not the inside, so these will fit on here like that. Then let me get my screws. I'm looking for BPs, no BMs. Now what part of it is, this book is not helping it. Part of the problem is I've got 4 of these lights going in here, so I've got 4 different frequencies that the camera's trying to compensate for. So BM screws, I need 2 of them for each of those. So I'm wondering what Donnie's excuse is for being late. I mean, I don't think he was cutting his grass again. I think he did that on Saturday. Or actually, guys, give Donnie a pass, because if it's what I think it is, He and I talked a little bit about it over the weekend. He deserves a pass on being late today. Just this once, though, Donnie. So let me get these 4 screws in. Right now I'm just getting them all started. You know, did it last time. I'm forgetting this time. I think it was on Iron Man that I started using the WD-40. Might need to start doing that again because these are not playing nice. Here's the 4th one. Appreciate it, guys. And if Donnie decides to share, that's great. If not, don't pressure him. So BP need a beep plastic screw. Or a screw that goes into plastic. There's 2 in the bag here. I'm only going to need 1. The other one's going to go in here with the other spares. And it's funny because I still have spares for the DeLorean. I think I've still got spares for the Millennium Falcon, which was the first one of these that I did, and it's been done for, oh yeah. You can always rewatch it later. But it was the first part work that I did, the Millennium Falcon. Like I said, I think I've still got screws for it. So it looks like this goes in there, this catch goes in from the top. And it looks like there should be a keying in there, but I can't tell. But I do feel it there. So I got it to drop in. And then this BP screw goes in from the bottom side. And we'll thread into the bottom of that. It actually looks very much like it does on a real car. That pin's or that post sticking up there. First, remove backing adhesive strip. Place the sticky side of the adhesive strip in the back of the engine plate information. Then remove. Okay. So we've got a just plain metal plate here, identification plate, and that looks almost like it's actually legible. Not with my eyes though. So I've got this double-sided tape. I'm peeling one side off. That goes on the back here of the plate. And of course it is not cut to fit. It's not a precise fit. But it goes on the back of that plate like that. You can see got it pretty much centered. At this point, if I can find them, I really need my ply or my X-Acto. That is the best way to lift the backing paper off. Short of that, I'll get my knife that I use for cutting boxes for my recycle paper. And it does not look, actually, is it? Wow. That tape is just kind of folded over on top of itself. Yes, it is the identification plaque. I'm not undoing nothing. Change one of them. That's folded over and it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to undo it. And according to the instructions, it goes here. What I'm going to do, because I don't want it to fall off and get lost, I'm going to glue it. The tape might hold it, but I would rather not find out that it didn't. I'm losing everything. I don't see my pin vise. I do not see my pin vise. That's not a good thing. I know it's here somewhere. It's just because I just shoved everything to the left and the right. Well, let's try it the hard way then. Very gently, carefully lay that into the glue, and then slide that up there into the corner. Get this excess glue off of here before it sets up and mars too much. Too late. Actually, no. You're right. Thank you. Exactly. That's what happens when you clean up your bench. So, and because of the tape, it's got a little bit of a hump under it. It should dry in there okay. And that's actually all there is to do at this stage. So stage 69. Which is a very tiny stage. I don't think there's a whole lot to do in this stage, but there's a lot of part. Not parts, part. Sorry guys, I'm looking over here. The plate looked like it was lifting up, but it's not. So let me get that off of there. It's just the card. I thought it might be something different. Where is bug stuff? I don't know, man. So there's that. Some plastic pieces. A bunch of screws. Not a ton, but a few. A couple of pieces there. A couple of wire pieces. Let me close this before I hurt myself. Oh, come on. Really? Is it too much white? Let me see. I don't want to turn off the one right overhead. You know, let me double check something because I don't think I... Oops. Anti-flicker. Should be automatic. So should autofocus. I don't think I ever turned on the anti-flicker. So that could have been what was causing it. So the first thing it says to do is take the screws out. Let me move this for a second. Along with these parts. So I can put something under it and not mar the finish on the car. Although there is a excess metal right there from when they cut it. So first thing to do is take off these screws, because these bars are only in here to keep it from getting crushed. It keeps the body from flexing and getting bent while it's in shipment. The Ecto, or not the Ecto, the DeLorean had these same types of parts for its body. And you just took them off and threw them away. I actually think I see where those switches from earlier tonight are going to go. It's actually pretty ingenious the way they did it. Let me get this one off and I'll tilt one of the slots up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's about the right size. Actually, that could be really cool the way they do it. I see how it's going to go, and I see how they could also have done it. But right here, you see that hole right there? There's a notch right there. That's where the arm from those switches are going to go. They could have done the wire through the back, but actually it's going right through this notch here. So now that those are off, this gets flipped back over, and the front part that I was just working on and I know me, I'm going to take these out of the way, but I'm going to end up holding on to them to the end of the build just in case, even though I don't need to, even though I know they're supposed to be junk. Yeah, it says they're only attached to keep the body in shape and in transit. But I'm still going to hold on to the pieces because that's just how I am. And this part sits to sit above. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. That makes more sense. So there's post, 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 a couple of short posts. I think these are more locators than anything else, and these are actually where the screws are going to go. And that goes on the... Yeah. Okay, these are not... The screws are actually where these other posts are at. But need to turn it because this one is not playing nice. Doesn't want to go, either one side doesn't want to go down. There was one side or the other didn't want to go down, but now they're all three down. And those are going to be LM screws, 3 of them. I believe I already have some LMs. Yep. So let me put, damn it, just close the book. That's not what I meant to do. Finding my place again. And one of the first parts that I got on the build I just saw further in the book, the grill will actually be attached tonight. So I'm going to need 5 LM screws. There's going to be 3 on the bottom here, and 1 on either side. There's 5 screws. Over there. I'm going to start in the center. Actually, before I start doing this, let's see. Is that? I thought I left the can over here, but apparently I did not. Let me get the WD-40 real quick. Yeah, I can see it over there. Actually, I have a solo shot cup that I was using for it. There's still already a little left over from last time in there. That should be more than plenty for tonight. So you can see down there the liquid, that's just WD-40. Dip the screw in. And I'm using WD-40 instead of 3-in-1 oil. I'm starting to do that because some of the screws are a real bear to get in. And I tried it last time. I think I said earlier I tried it on the I think it was the Iron Man, and it did help. So there's one. Number 2. And I don't think you'd be able to see it on camera, but looking down into these holes, the paint is actually down into the threads on these holes, which is why it can be sometimes hard to get things in there. And this, the WD-40 is helping immensely to make it go in easier. That one's tight. That one's tight. That one's tight. There's a little bit of excess left behind. I grab those wires with the magnetic screwdriver. Set that over there. Flip this upside right. And one goes in on either side. So one will go in this hole here. And you can see a slight wet spot where it ran. That's why I'm wiping it off after the fact. Let me flip it over, and maybe I didn't show before, but you can see the post there. This is where the hole is, and that's where that last screw is going to go. It looks like this might be shifted a little bit. It's not. That one's tight. Excess oil. Bring this back around. Not knock over the WD-40. So the next thing is the grill and that trim piece on top of it. So like I said, the grill, which is one of the first things that was built, and the trim on top. Let me move these parts out of the way. So that I can actually pull this back a little bit. Unfortunately, that super glue was dry. Okay. So I am looking, and I do not see any wires. Okay, it says unplug the headlights. So after I plugged all the wiring into the chassis, I'm going to end up unplugging it all and plugging it into the car as we go. Fitting right headlight. Cover the bumpers. Remove 3 AP screws from the center. that seam is really nice and tight right now. It's just, it's unfortunate that you have to remove the screws. So these three screws, this one, and this one, get removed so that the strobes, which don't work, there's a mod out there. I'm not going to do it to actually make these strobes flash. I don't believe they did in the movie, actually. Cool, Mark. I think you're probably either up to or close to where I was at, or am at, because I haven't received anything in about 6 weeks. So that comes off of there. And then I need to pull and plug right headlight LED from the PCB. So let me get the right headlight LED from the car. Should be this one here. Let me double check. This P. Actually, that was in the previous magazine, so let me look. I just want to make sure I'm not grabbing the wrong wires, because that'll really screw things up later on down the road. (66B) P is the right headlight LED. It's the right headlight LEDs, and they just push in here like this. So you can see the LEDs. Sorry if I was out of picture. Got the two LEDs, the holes in the headlights. They should just push in, and they are pretty snug. Very sweet that you're caught up. I mean, it's to be expected with Eagle Moss. I'm not upset. I've got things to redo on the Enterprise. So those are now in there. Supposed to come down and lay down inside the bumper. Okay, let's see what they're doing. It looks like it goes down inside the bumper. It actually goes down. There's a trench right here. So these are going to go down inside that trench. I am going to redo them eventually. I don't know if it's going to be a live stream, because I got to figure out what I have to fix. I don't know that that's going to hold completely inside there, and I'm not going to push down with any kind of sharp object to try and get these down inside that groove. So there's a wire right here, and it will hold, well, maybe both will fit down in there. Let's see. Let me get one of the parts. Left, right, so this must be center. That's what these plastic parts are for. Taking out the AP screws, these ones here, and replacing them with these much longer PP screws. Matter of fact, let me pull this back a little bit so I've got more room to work on this. So this goes in here like this. So screw goes through. There's a hole right here. See the hole? That holds the wire down, and that screw goes through and back into the chrome piece. So let me set that up. See if I can get this other wire to go down in on top of that one. Even if it doesn't, it's going to be held in place by 3 of these little brackets. Let's see what they're doing, and thumbnail is able to push it down some. But that's the extent of what is going to go down in there. So now let me see if I can get this screw through the hole there. Put the chrome piece back on here. They could have just put in the instructions to take the screws out and leave the chrome piece in there. So chrome piece goes back in. There's a post that comes out of the chrome piece that sticks down in. Matter of fact, I wasn't doing a live stream when I started this, so I'll show you. There's post at each point there. And that goes down into the grill, which is how it's going to stay on the grill. And with the screw being a little bit longer, it's going to leave enough room to be able to get this wire under here. First thing I'm going to do is get it threaded to where it's holding in place. Now I'm going to see if I can lay that wire back down in there. I've got one actually in the trench. The other one would be nice if I could get it all the way down in, and there it went. Of course, the first one's coming off on out on the other side. So the white wires are together. While this is in there and actually down inside the trench, I'm going to tighten this down to keep it in place. It's kind of funny because the bracket to hold the screw or to hold the wire is higher than the wire will ever be. Oh, just looking at it, I guess I'm too efficient because I'm sticking it down inside that groove, and they don't have it inside the groove. Makes sense here and here. I'm off camera. Makes sense here and here because this groove is actually right there into the, or the screw is right into the trench. So I'm going to pull these back out and actually route it the way they've got it. I do not want to have that screw cut my wire. And it did actually mark it a little bit. It'll be okay though. So now to do this again. Back this out again. This is one of those times where a third hand would do nothing but get in the way. You feel like you'd need a third hand, but it'd do nothing but get in the way. Okay, so now that I got the head, get that back in there. Got it back under there. Let me tighten this down. Pull it tight. Over here. Tighten the rest of the way down. And do the same thing on the other side. First, I'm going to put away my spare screw. Since this is the first PP screw I have, I need the label. And those were APs. Actually, I have plenty of AP screws. I'm going to discard these. These. Said put the spare away. And I'm going to clip these off. One has an L, the other has an R. So let me take this one with the R. Put it on the right hand side. Thread the screw in there. Start this threading the screw at least. So now I'm holding the bracket down over top of the, well, I was until it spun around the back side, holding the bracket down over the top of the two wires so that they'll stay in place. And I've got one of the wires in the center still not completely where it's supposed to be. One thing I don't like is you can actually see the wire. I don't know if you can see it on camera. Yeah, you can see it. You can see the wire through the grill. And here's the last one. This one goes on the left-hand side. Again, the wire's underneath this bracket as I thread the screw in. Hold this down, tighten it, make sure that that wire stays underneath there because it's trying to do the same thing the other one was, which is sneak out the top. Well, there's a problem. I'm sitting here putting that screw into nothing. This side, the post did not pop into where it's supposed to be, so I'm going to have to loosen this one. Thought it was in there. That's what I get for thinking. Let me loosen this one enough. I felt that shift, so it should fit back in there like that. Yeah, this was off into the bottom here. So before I tighten the center one back up, I'm going to put this one back in and make sure I'm threaded. Come on. It's not wanting to go in. I would too have that problem on the Enterprise. I have more problems on the Enterprise. Those millions of little bitty windows. I will go back to the Enterprise, Donnie. It's just that the Enterprise was getting a lot of love and nothing else was. Okay, let me loosen that a hair so I can put the wires under it. I'll tighten it back down. Of course, these have come back out because I'd loosened it. Man, those wires just do not want to stay in place. This again on this one, on the center. And this one, not sure why it is not going down further than that. I might, Mark, I might. Actually, no need to glue. They are in place and not popping out anymore. So let me go get the left-hand headlights. We can do the exact same thing all over again. Not really. These ones just push in. Don't see anything that says to hold them in place with any brackets. That does actually look better with the, so there's the ones without the lights, and there's the ones with the lights. Actually looks better that way, having something inside the housing. And what I'm doing when I push these in is I'm taking my thumbnails on either side of the leads and just putting pressure on them until they pop in. That way I'm not pushing at all on the wiring. Look, they come out about the same length now. I'm looking at the instructions. And I'm not sure what they're gonna do, but I left these out. Supposedly, somehow they're holding the wires in place. So let me unscrew this again. I'll eventually get this right. And supposedly somehow these two wires crossing in the middle are going to hold these in place. Actually, it's just saying that the wires will be held in place, and this goes down. I'm actually doing them in the wrong order. I don't think that's going to matter that if it's left or right that's on first. But somehow these wires are going to do something later on. I don't know what. Get this back in place. And I think I was misreading that. The wires are not going to hold the, or the, these steel wires are not going to hold the electrical wires in place. The steel wires are there for something else. The bracket holds these wires in place. Let's see if I can get that wire out of the way. There's an idea. Just clip the wire, slide it through there, and tie the other end onto it, and don't worry about whether the headlights work. I would not do that. Might threaten to. Okay. Whoops. A little bit tight. These wires are pretty stinking stiff one. I guess that's why they use steel wires. Whoops. Pulled that a little bit too hard. Now to do the exact same thing on the other side. I'm going to see if I can keep that plastic part in place. Probably not. Okay. Come on, get back in there. I'm gonna go home. Channel my inner Happy Gilmore. It's close. What would really suck is if I tighten this down and the steel wire popped through. Then I might throw things. So I'm not sure what these are going to do, but they're there. It says this is what it should look like at this point. And I am not going to stop. I am going to, well, actually I'm going to take a look. Yeah, we are not stopping this time. We are going to finish this. Headlights are not actually being attached tonight. Got some trim pieces here. I think that's trim at least. Some screws. Plastic, I think, piece there. And that should be it. Let me double check. Make sure I've got all the parts. Yep. Get these screws out of the way. And this is actually the rear part here. And I'm not sure yet what this is. So now let me pull the car way forward. And again, first thing to do is take off this piece here, which was in there simply for shipping. And I'm trying, it's kind of awkward the way I'm doing this, but I'm trying to keep from setting the top of the car down on the cutting mat. Top or the sides. I didn't fall out of my chair. My chair just snaps a lot. It's one of them things about being a little bit heavier than the chair likes. Or maybe you're talking about the plastic. So that comes out, and then 3 QP screws. Which QP is another new screw. So I need to pull the label off and put it on the screw box. If I can. And of course I trimmed my nails a couple of days ago, so I can't get a hold of that little piece of plastic. Label. Got it. I just had to whine about it a little bit. So 3 QP screws, but only one spare. So there's the 3 screws. Here's the spare. Move the oil. Actually, these are plastic. Move the oil out of the way. Pull this up. Knock the mic over. Pull this back a little bit. And so it doesn't really show, but I'm thinking since it goes uphill this direction, it would go like this, and there's actually, I was looking at these lugs, there's 3 holes here in the frame, 3 lugs on the piece here. They are going to fit in there just like that. It's going to look like that once it's installed. Flip this over. Just put the first screw in the middle. Okay, that one's started. Now I can just let go of that piece and work with these other screws a little bit easier. Third one over here. That lug was actually dropped down out of the hole practically. I couldn't see it from where I'm at. So now that they're started, go back here to the middle one, press it in, and tighten this down until it won't go any further. Same on the top. And the same on the bottom. Let me double check this one. I wasn't entirely sure it was tightened all the way. So what is that? I'm just curious. 70C. Oh, it's the rear door catch. Okay. So this is what is going to catch the door. When it closes, a BM screw goes into it. There's a slot there. There's a slot right there. Goes with that tab and that hole. That'll fit in there like that. And a BM screw, if I can keep it in there. There's 2 BM screws. Move my plastic screws out of the way. There's 2 in here, 1 spare. Dip it in the oil. Be careful not to get too much on the paint. In the hole, not cross-threaded, please. There we go. It's trying to cross-thread. What do they say? It's not modeling unless you're bleeding. Try this again. This time I'm going to stand up so I can actually see it, because I was trying to cross thread all over the place. Better. It was not hitting the hole. Double check that. It felt tight, but I just want to make sure. Yeah, that should be good. So that's got that there, and now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 HM screws. Put my spare away. So this is going to sit on here like this. It makes sense how they hooked that, but man, it's kind of hokey with the puzzle piece part up there. Okay. Pull this back off. Yeah. So what's going to be holding this together is just the window frame here. 2 screws here, 2 screws on the other side. And it actually, this piece here kind of slots in, which is why it was staying so well. There are spots where these things, the out pieces sticking out, will slot down inside the metal in here and hold. And like I said, I'm not happy with the way this side is looking. So let me put this over here. Tiny Batman is right now feeling very threatened. The front end of the car is right over top of him. And it is the second screw here. And as long as the screws thread in, everything should be okay. But that doesn't feel like it's threading in. And that's because it needs to be pulled down just a hair. The bottom one, okay. So I'm going to start with the bottom one. I can pull it down, line it up. And it's threaded, which should hold the top one down far enough to where I can thread it in. Much better. And I have to do this without bending the actual, yeah, I felt it right there. It shifted really bad. Let me do the other side first. I am not going to put it up on its side again because I don't want to bend this thing. This side looks like it should go in without any issue whatsoever. Then again, maybe not. I'm going to tighten this one all the way down. That one's good. Let me do the same on this other side. And I can feel the screw coming through the other side, so I know it's actually going through. Do it on the top here. Much better now that it's a little bit tight. It's done. Are you kidding? This vehicle's sub-sound. By the way, Donnie, this car, just this piece, weighs as much as the entire Enterprise does right now. So I would, except for all of the wires that are hanging off of the chassis, I would set this on top of it. That, gentlemen and ladies, if you're out there, is the frame. Or not the frame, that is the beginning of the body. And that's all I've got for tonight. I've got still more of the Ecto. I've got one more issue of the Enterprise, and I've got more of the Iron Man. Not sure what I'm going to do next week. Not sure how much I'm going to work this week. I might do a stream, might not, say Thursday or Friday. Depends on how things go. We've got a lot of things going on at work right now. I mean, it's all hands on deck to get this one project done by tomorrow. Maybe Enterprise. It's possible. But having a lot of fun with this thing. When it first came out, I was like, I have to have this. Love this car. You know, and there's other ones coming out. I don't, was it September, maybe October, they're supposed to be releasing from Agora Models the London bus. I know some people are not that into the London bus. I think it looks awesome, so it will be back to build number 4 that I'm actually paying for, 6 that I've actually got in work, part work number 6 that I've actually got going, along with the Titanic, the Titanic, the Voyager, the Shuttle, the F-16, and I've got to clear the decks between now and January so that Eric and I can start working on a buddy build for the Queen Mary 2. Matter of fact, Eric, if you're still out there, I think what we ought to do, Iron Man, not tonight. What we ought to do, Eric, is we ought to do some live streams of us both working on the Queen Mary 2 through Discord. So I'm going to call it a stream. 2 hours and 5 minutes. Not my longest stream, but about my average these days. Appreciate you guys stopping by. If you're enjoying what you see, please like the videos and subscribe to the channel to get notified. Or don't. It's completely up to you. I will still do this whether people watch or not. I do it because I enjoy it. And I don't know if you guys realize, I keep an eye on the chat, but I continue to talk just because I want people watching to be entertained. And let's see. Mark, have a good night. Spence, have a good night. See you later, Donnie. Thank you, Donnie, for the great stream. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Have a great evening. Don't forget to stop by Hobby Link International if you've never been there. The link is in the description. It is a great place to visit, to become a member of. if you're into model building at all. On top of that, they're now they sell some models through their store. They're now starting to sell what I think are the cheapest and actually really high quality for what they do boards. Because not everybody needs an enterprise that has all the bells and whistles. If all you're looking for is some marker beacons and the flashing lights, which they can also be used on aircraft. It's a great place to get them. They're cheap, and they have the best warranty that I know of. Yeah, stop by again if you have been there and join. And oh, by the way, I don't know if Kenny's still running the contest, but if he is, tell him Buck sent you. Or Darth Buckman, actually. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Have a great evening, and we will talk to you later.